Hello Scorpio, welcome to your reading. I'm Empress Rose. These are general readings, so we're going to take what works and leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. And if I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this reading, go ahead and check all your major placements. Major placements are Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. And we're going to start off with the botanical inspirations for a little bit of a vibe of what kind of energies we're working with, and then we'll move into a more traditional tarot spread for you. So these botanical inspirations are Victorian illustrations of flowers and then the meanings that Victorians ascribe to each of those flowers. So we'll see what we get here. This deck either like gives me a bunch of stuff right away or keeps it to itself for a while. It looks like we're doing the keeping it to ourselves for a while, which I ascribe meaning to in these readings. There's the way the cards come out has something to say too sometimes. Oh, cool. I was just thinking, oh, somebody else just got all of these same ones, but I can't remember who. Libra got some of them. Okay. Intelligence and mental beauty. Wisdom is the abstract of the past, but beauty is the promise of the future. Clematis. So this is basically about learning, about growing, about having some sort of learning experience, learning from your experiences, and growing and sort of climbing intellectually to new heights. And then we have Snapdragon. Graciousness and benevolence. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. So we're talking about, acts of kindness, possibly random acts of kindness, making sure we're being kind, and maybe even looking for some graciousness and benevolence from others too, because we deserve that as much as anybody, right? So daffodil, rebirth and new beginnings. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. So one of the first flowers of spring, a new beginning. And then let's move to the regular tarot. It's morning here, and I'm drinking my coffee. And I'm putting lipstick all over my coffee mug. It's very fun. This is the only place I get to wear lipstick, really, because everything else requires a mask. So Scorpio, here's your past, your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. Oh my goodness. Some of these cards are shown up here, and this to-do list is not a new to-do list. Wow, a lot of pokey stuff on this top realm here. No wonder you're needing some kindness. In your recent past, you have the King of Swords. King of Swords can be very traditional, very intellectual. This is because it's a court card. It's probably a person, an actual person from your past. Maybe it's an energy though. And there's this pointy thing. There's someone in authority. They have authority. They own that authority. It's a traditional authority figure. Very smart, very intellectual, clear communicator, possibly. And it tends to be fairly fair. The kings are looking out for the good of the whole kingdom, so not just themselves. So it tends to be very fair, very sharp, insightful, but also understands extenuating circumstances and stuff like that. Can be very, very fair, but also a little judgmental. I mean, that's his job here, right? To be the authority figure, to be the one in charge, to be the recess teacher, to make the decisions on who's right, who's wrong, where we're going to go. But they're able to see nuance too sometimes. So this might be a person from your past that you've dealt with that has been an authority over you. This could also be you. Maybe you were in a position of authority at some point in your recent past. In your current situation, we have 4 of coins. So this is a focus on money and work, very focused on money and work, almost to the exclusion of relationships. See, they're very isolated by themselves. This could be school, this could be learning, this could be a lot of different things having to do with making money, having to do with physicality. So I almost am thinking in my mind, like it's for physicality. Something in your physical environment is taking a lot of effort, or you're very focused on it. It's not really taking it. You're offering it a lot of focus. You might be avoiding people by focusing on work. I think workaholism is one of the hardest sort of addictions or methods of avoidance to deal with, because it's so rewarded in our society. We reward that quite a bit with a lot of money. So it's hard to, one, even see it as a problem, and two, there's not a lot of 12-step programs for people trying not to work so much or focus on the work. But so this is a lot of focus on work, and you're choosing to do that. Choosing to focus on your studies, focus on work, almost to the exclusion of other people. There is a sense of, to the exclusion of other things. It can be a very good start on something. You really want to focus on that and really start learning. We're talking about rebirth and new beginning. So at a new beginning, that's totally great to focus on something as you're starting to learn about it, and almost to the exclusion of other people and other things in your life. Just to get your feet underneath you and get a really good grip and a really good grasp of what's going on here and what you need to do and what the job is and all of that stuff. So you could be learning a new job, learning about money, but you're very focused on it, and it's not a scattered energy. You're very focused. This could be this, learning from something from your past and growing from it. So a lot of learning going on here. There's a lot of learning about something new here. Not very new, but it's that you're still in the pretty tight, pretty straight up part of the learning curve on this one, or you're just very intensely focused on something. And then here's our Queen of Swords. This is what you're really thinking about. This is your hopes, your fears. Wow, we've got a King of Swords and a Queen of Swords. And two kings here, talking a lot about like who's in charge, who's in control, and who's got the plan. And this is what you're dealing with internally. This is your internal landscape and your hopes and fears column right here. So the Queen of Swords is very focused on herself and on what she wants and what she perceives. So we're not saying that the King of Swords is good and the Queen of Swords is bad, but kind of in this swords only, but not really, because the Queen of Swords is just focused on her truth and on her communication and what she wants to communicate and what she wants, what she thinks. So these are two. The King is usually focused outward and the Queen is usually focused inward, which have different. Which each has its time and its place and its appropriateness. So we're not saying one is bad and one is good. We're just saying these are different focuses. So maybe you were focused on what was good for everybody and on a greater good and a greater truth. And now you've been studying, you've been learning, and now you're more focused on possible connections here. Now you're more focused on your truth, what you see. So the Queen of Swords can get a little overly focused on her own truth and her own, what she has to say and what she thinks and her communication, so that she's not really paying close attention to how she's coming across. She's not really paying close attention to other people's feelings. She's just very focused on her truth, which can be a very powerful, good place to be in given whatever situations you're dealing with, or could be a little overly harsh for the situation. So, or the other people that you're dealing with, because everyone has these different levels of sensitivity, and some people need just a raised eyebrow to get that what you feel, and other people need sort of a sword to chop off their head before they finally understand that you have feelings and thoughts that you wanted to share. So, but this Queen of Swords, she's very at home here with her thoughts, or she's getting at home here. There is a butterfly here representing, of course, transformation and some sort of change and growth here. So you're getting more comfortable possibly with your own thoughts, with communicating. You could be worried about having to communicate something. You could be worried about having you could be a little frightened by the level of clarity that you're experiencing right now and a little worried about it. And you could also be thinking about how to communicate something, how to communicate it very clearly, what you think, what your thoughts and ideas are. And here with this intelligence and mental beauty card, with this clematis, as far as learning and growing, this whole top deck is about learning and growing. The swords are all about thoughts and our thoughts and our communication. And this Four of Coins is very clearly, you know, at some sort of learning stage where we're very obsessed. So you might actually be like obsessed with having an obsessive thought, but also with this mental beauty, it looks like you're just, you're thinking very clearly right now. Or you're hoping to think very clearly and have, I mean, gosh, who doesn't enjoy a nice mental clarity coming in? I like that. And then what's at issue here is this Three of Wands. Someone's not trusting their intuition or having faith. This can show up here in this Four of Coins with being a little too clingy, with being a little too focused on something. It could be about feeling insecure about if something's yours or not, and so really clinging because we are coming at something with a clenched fist here instead of an open hand. The clenched fist represents a sense of insecurity that thing might leave us and might not actually be ours. And the open hand has some sort of both receptivity and generosity as far as things being able to come and go. And it's okay to clench. I mean, this is the heartbeat, right? The clench and the release, the clench and the release, the clench and the release. So, we're grasping something, we're taking it in, we're learning it, we're making it ours, and then we're letting it go, letting it be its thing. So that could be a little bit of what's going on with this Four of Coins. But this Three of Wands here represents, in reverse, a lack of faith. Being able to see something, being able to see that something is yours. Yeah, this ship is yours. It's coming in. Normally, this Three of Wands upright is about having faith. You met it there. No one had to tell you that ship was coming in because you knew it and you knew it was yours and you knew it's your ship and you know it's coming in and you've been looking for it for a long time. You had this intuition. You had this idea that this thing was coming for you, that your ships were coming in, right? And you knew that and you felt that. But this is in reverse, and this is a lack of faith that your ships are coming in, a lack of faith that something that you have right now is actually yours. So you may be clinging to it a little too tightly, maybe even an idea that you have, because of this Queen of Swords, I'm also getting a little bit of an obsessive vibe with her. So it may be a lack of faith, a lack of going with the flow, a lack of trusting yourself to be able to learn this stuff, to be able to possess something without clinging, to be able to have something, to be able to have information, integrate the information without having to constantly cling to it. And I'm reminded of like the work of an actor in memorization. So at some point you know this stuff and you just go up on stage and you're like, here is the stuff, and you just have to trust that it's back there, even though you can't, necessarily bring up every line instantaneously. At some point, you just have to trust that you've got it, that you know it, and you're going to be able to produce it as practiced and as rehearsed and agreed by everybody. So this is like a lack of faith that those lines are back there, that you know what you know, that you've learned what you've learned, because this is all about learning. And I feel like this is about faith, and about faith that you are going to get this, faith that you are understanding something. This could also be a lack of faith that you are seeing clearly, because we have all of this seeing clearly up here, this King and Queen of Swords. This matched intellectual set. You are learning, you are growing, you're learning. You're learning a lot more than you think you're learning. And this Three of Wands represents some sort of lack of faith, some sort of clinging, and a lack of faith in your own vision and in your own intuition. In your environment, you have the Empress. So you have everything you need here. This is self-sufficiency. This is abundance. This is, these bunnies represent a lot of abundance. And, oh my goodness, what happened? So your environment could be very rich, could be just having has all the elements of what you need. So this lack of faith could be a little insulting to the universe because all around you is something that is thriving and has what it needs. And this could also be an energy around you, or a person around you that has what they need, is good, is independent. This almost seems like a defensiveness with these swords up here, a defensiveness about what you know and about the path that you're on. And so she's here, and there's no reason to be defensive. She doesn't have to be defensive. She already has everything she needs. So she doesn't need to cling. She doesn't need to cling to power or assert control over things. This is a sort of like self-confidence that sits back and is able to relax. That's how much self-confidence. So I always think about my son had 2 teachers in middle school, and one of them went around telling everyone, I'm the teacher, I'm here, I'm the teacher, I'm in charge. And my son said his class was always just chaos. No one ever seemed to be in control, and it was just loud, and nobody ever listened to him. Versus the next class he would go to, and the teacher just exuded that control. There was no need to talk about it, no need to say it. The class was always very quiet, very organized, and the teacher never had to stand up in front of the class and yell, I'm the teacher, everybody has to listen to me, because he just possessed that energy and it wasn't he wasn't trying to possess it, he just had it. And I remember my son describing that to me about how interesting that was for him to see someone that was in control not having to announce that they're in charge, and then someone who is never in control always having to say and tell everybody, oh, remember, I'm in control here. So the Empress in this reading right here in particular reminds me of that, of just an abundance, a power, a very relaxed ability to handle things, and a very relaxed sense of there is everything that you need here already, so we can just stop talking about that part and move on, right? So there's something in your environment that's a very relaxed power. Like this 4 of coins is very possessive, very clingy, and this Empress has everything but is not clinging to any of it. So that energy surrounds you, or you're being invited to see that energy surrounds you, and that there isn't this need for clinging and defensiveness. And then in your to-do list, which I find interesting in this whole, but I love this. So, here's the Empress, gracious and benevolent. This energy surrounds you, this gracious, benevolent energy. And then here we have the Death card, which is rebirth and new beginnings. It is this daffodil card here, although we do have a lily. We have a couple lilies here. And so this is about rebirth. This is about death. This almost looks like coronavirus here, except it's yellow instead of red. And this is about being assisted. So you are being divinely assisted through this transition. So there's some sort of big transition that you're making in your life. No wonder you're clinging and having doubts and being a little defensive, because this is ending a really big cycle for the purpose of bringing in a new cycle, this new beginning, rebirth and new beginning. So it's a rebirth. You're being asked to go through some sort of rebirth process, dying to some sort of part of yourself or part of your life. And then, so for the purpose of being able to resurrect as a new person, it's almost like reincarnating yourself as you are alive in this lifetime. So you're being asked to reincarnate yourself or reincarnate some part of your life, while in this lifetime, right? So becoming somebody new, stepping through some sort of threshold, crossing this path, allowing your light to inhabit a new life, a new type of life, a new you, allowing your light to change forms, allowing the form of your light in your life, and allowing the clothing, the form that it's in, to change. So there's some sort of essence that remains, but something exterior changes here. This could also be reversed. I just feel though that this could also, I mean, and I don't mean to say this could be an internal process. So I'm not saying that that just the exteriors are going to change, but there's some sort of internal process of massive change. Your light in your life comes with you. Your light comes with you, but there's some sort of manifestation of who you are that needs to shift and change. I've never gotten this reading from this card as far as like a reincarnation while you are alive. That's sort of what we're talking about here. This death and then resurrection into somebody sort of different. So, you know, I'm probably not, death is a major arcana. I was just going to walk that back and be like, you know, it could be, but death is a pretty major arcana. So there's something that you're being asked to change and to grow into, and to some sort of part of yourself needs to die or needs to move on, needs to be left behind so that you can enter a new world, because you do have a vision. I feel like this is about being in denial of that vision. Like you don't have faith in the vision, but in order to be told that you don't have faith in that vision by the cards, you have to have had a vision that you're supposed to be having faith in. So I feel like this death card is related to those doubts. This person that's clinging and defensive, there needs to be some sort of shift to embrace a new beginning. Embracing the new beginning and not clinging to the new beginning. Maybe welcoming the new beginning, but the part of you that's doubting it and needs to, and defensive needs to fall away. So, but this is your to-do list. Death is your to-do list. So I don't mean that literally. Don't anybody kill anybody. And then we have this King of Wands. So this is the possible outcome of where you're going. This King of Wands energy is very inspired, charismatic, really sees to this vision though. This king sees the vision. This vision that you're not having faith in, this is where you're going. You're going to have full faith in a king-like way, really possessing, really owning this inspiration, this vision, this idea, and it's going to be good for everybody. And you're going to be very inspired by it and not clinging to it, but inspired by it and charismatic. I think people will follow you or will hear your vision and also be inspired by what you have to say and what you have to do. But this is coming into this vision very powerfully, and really understanding it and grasping the power of what you see and what you want and what inspires you and bringing that out into the world. So I think you're going from this defensive mode to this sort of inspired embrace of something, of a vision that you have, an idea that you have. And it's a beautiful new beginning for you. I mean, the king usually isn't a beginning, but it's like you owning it, you owning this vision, you owning your path and what you want and what you see. So even though we're going a little long, I'm totally addicted to these wild Kuan Yin oracle cards. I was following this artist for a while and had no idea she actually had oracle cards, and I'm absolutely in love with them. But I did buy the little ones, and now I wish I would have bought, I don't know, they need to be murals, I think, or just entire realities that I can exist inside of. So, oh, this is cool. Keeping it simple. Your mind may convince you that manifesting your destiny is more difficult or complex than it needs to be. Oh my God, this whole top row about clinging and this whole idea of having a vision and having, working too hard or clinging too much and being defensive about it. Your destiny, your mind may convince you that, and these swords are all about minds, all about thoughts. That manifesting your destiny is more complex, difficult or complex than it needs to be. Yet the guidance of the Divine Mother is to keep things simple. Do what you can do, let go of everything else. And here's your clinging, let go of it, everything else, just do what you can do. So keeping it simple, keeping this gift that you have to give, this vision that you have, this bright red vision, keeping it just simple, clear, and no need to cling. She's just, oh look, she's just holding it. She's just holding it, right? It can roll away. She's not grasping it. She's not clinging to it. It's just resting there in her hand. And that's your vision. just resting, just holding on to it in her hand. And I love that she almost has this wand in her hand. She has this wand in her hand like you do. And we have 2 white sheep and 2 white rabbits. So there's a lot of like little signs and symbols here that we're kind of on the right path here. So, all right, Scorpio, I hope that that was useful and helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. And I also appreciate hearing your comments from you guys. So I hope you have a wonderful week.